I'm author Lorelei Buckley. In this episode we ask, did our genre choose us or did we choose our genre? I interpret that to mean, did I gravitate toward a certain genre naturally, or was my genre choice more contrived? I've mentioned I write all genres, so in relation to the books I currently have published, which are paranormal romance, I would say paranormal chose me and I chose romance. I come from a family rich in the divination arts. My grandmother read tea leaves, and I had family members who read tarot. We had open discussions on religion and mysticism, mythology, and more than magical thinking, we had countless accurate premonitions and foretelling dreams. I share this with you because even though we were deeply spiritual, my normal, as defined by society, could be considered paranormal. So when I started writing, my influences, my imagination, my perspectives, supernatural. Now let's talk romance. That's what surprises me. Dark fiction, horror, drama, suspense. I could see that in me. Romance was an utter shock. And actually it stemmed from a dream. I had a dream about a newly married couple who moved into a 19th century refurbished home and were haunted by a ghost from that era named Claire. When I woke up, I told my husband about the dream and talk about premonitions. He said, write that one down in your journal. It's going to be your first published novel. And it was, titled From the Other Side. Say what you will about romance. I have a great time writing it, and I know readers have a great time reading it. Viewer question, how did I handle my first rejection letter? My first rejection letter for a fictional piece came from an e-zine, and it read like this. Conversation is what happens in elevators. Dialogue moves the story forward. In the future, use less conversation and more dialogue. Without making any changes, I submitted that story to a larger print magazine. They said, your dialogue is sharp and your character development is spot on. However, we guessed the ending. Please send us more material. And unfortunately, I didn't have any more. Having those rejection letters come simultaneously enabled me to, number one, recognize writing is often truly subjective, and number two, you can learn a lot from rejection letters or critiques, so keep your skin thick and your mind open.
Did the genre pick me or did I pick the genre? That's interesting because it's something that I've never really thought about. Romance was a no-brainer. I love romance. I love a happily ever after, whether it be in a movie, a book, or in real life. Suspense I had to think about a little bit, so I went back to when I was younger, and I considered the TV shows that I liked a lot, which was Magnum and Miami Vice, and I love the dialogue in Moonlighting. And then I kind of compared to what I like today. And my favorite author was Victoria Holt. She was definitely suspenseful, but she was also historical and very detailed. And today, that's not really what I like.
Do you have a suspense novel I can borrow?
Yeah, I think I have a few. And then I went further back when I was really young and to see if there was any hints that maybe suspense was there all along.
I wonder why Louisa didn't just have Joe push Beth down the stairs. I mean, she was going to kill her off anyway. That would have made it spicier. And Joe would have had something to draw on for her writing. And maybe the professor accidentally found out, and he was torn whether he should turn her in, but he loved her so much that he married her anyway, and they opened their school for boys. I think that would have made it more exciting.
I'm going to say suspense picked me too. How did I handle my first rejection letter? To be honest, I don't remember. It happened a long time ago. I began querying before I was ready. I do remember that it was before EPUBs or self-pubs became popular, so you had to go to an agent, and it had to be snail mail. They did not accept emails. And I also remember that I received quite a few rejections. I'm going to say I probably handled it the same as I do now. It depends on how I felt that day, whether it be sad, disappointed, or what the hell do they know. I also recall back then that when I told people that I was going to be a writer, I received a lot of placating or disbelief responses. And those, along with any type of rejection, made me more determined to learn my craft and become a better writer. And this still holds true today.
I've always been drawn to teen books, as you can see here. And I'm talking about some classics too, like Scary Stories, Goosebumps by R.L. Stein, those, and movies. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street series, Teen Wolf, Lost Boys, Fright Night, all of those. And I never knew that I would be writing young adult suspense horror years later, pretty much. So I was really surprised that I found myself in the genre. It was really interesting how the young adult writer in me emerged. Like I said earlier, I never anticipated, I never planned it, but when I submitted a collection to several publishers, and I'm talking about several, this one publisher returned an email to me and made a statement how he felt that my short stories would be best targeted for a young adult group. And I was like, really? I never wrote them intentionally for young adults, but I guess all of my influences over the years kind of drove that. So I will tell you that my genre chose me, and I love it. Okay, viewer question time. Gotta have Jack for this one. Okay. How did you handle your first rejection letter / email? Okay. First rejection, I pretty much prepared myself for after I've read how Stephen King, J.K. Rowling, and so many authors, amazing authors, have handled rejection. So I prepared myself for it. I was ready. So it didn't really bother me when I got that first email. Sorry that your story just does not meet criteria for this particular publication. Please, submit again in the future. We would be happy to reconsider. So anyways, I was okay with it. But I tell you what, I wasn't okay with 315 rejections. And I'll talk about that one day soon.
Okay. I was asked, how do you know when a book is ready?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, it was a very good question, and I'm kind of like, well, I really don't, but I just kind of go with what my feeling.
Okay, one of the best things that I love to do with my hubby is to attend Comic Cons. He picked this book up years ago. Never would have imagined we would be attending Comic Cons years later. Whenever we do, I'm usually a vendor selling books, and he's dressed up as a Jedi werewolf. He has a lightsaber. So anyways, that's one of the things that we enjoy doing together, and he supports me, and that's the best part.